Welcome to The Choice. I'm Kurt Doolittle. Episode 12. Popularity versus Necessity. The Problem of Popularity and Conservative Anti-Intellectualism. I'd be more popular if I talked about fashion, tattoos, cars, sex, and relationships. But I'd be more popular in political circles if conservatism by nature is an anti-intellectual disposition. So conservative thought leaders are, like me, conservative libertarians, meaning we're rule of law conservatives rather than rule by man conservatives or rule by priesthood conservatives. And that's because we have these three factions because of traditional European trifunctionalism. The conservative libertarians, meaning the intellectual rule of law or the intellectual and commercial rule of law. The martial conservative, which is force or dominance by the rule of man. And the priestly or faithful conservatives, which are empathic, ruled by priesthood. And then we have underneath them the vast pragmatic body politic that simply wants to get on with their lives and with the least difficulty possible. In other words, the natural disposition of most conservatives, whether they express their demand for elites as rule of law, rule of force, or rule of faith, is basically to be left alone. Now, as I've said, the problem of our age requires a rather hearty meal of intellectual solutions. But the disenfranchised, who are largely in the working, laboring, and lower middle classes, don't have the educational foundation, so they want to be served comfort food they're familiar with. And that'll continue. Unfortunately, that comfort food has made them fail and will continue to make them fail. Why? Because they don't understand that the priestly and military emotional responses are those of followers, not leaders. And if you want to rule yourselves or others, you must lead yourselves and others. And to lead requires you can organize, govern, and rule. And you can only organize, govern, and rule at any scale whatsoever the advanced civilization, that is Western civilization, by that set of algorithms. We don't think of them that way, but that's what they are. They're algorithms. Then we call those algorithms law. Because law is the set of rules of behavior, whether personal, economic, or political, that allow us to organize in vast numbers, despite the fact that some of us are martially and dominant intuitive, some of us are faithfully and submissively or empathically intuitive, and some of us are rationally or reciprocally intuitive. Religion and martial efforts bind us together as followers, but the law binds us together as leaders, and that's why conservatives have none. And so, unfortunately, rather than serving you comfort food, I'm asking you to grow up into adulthood. It's time for realism, naturalism, and action. It's time for law. It's time for military to bring about and defend that law. And it's time for us to use religion to once again transmit that law against generations. I hope this lesson is helpful. It's somewhat antagonistic. This is Kurt Doolittle for the Propertarian Institute. This has been The Choice.